Hello, everyone. My name is John Brenneman. I'm the president here at MOAA Vacations, and I want to thank everybody for joining us today for a very special webinar. We're joined by our great friend Jennifer Hunter from Uniworld Boutique River Cruises, and we are going to talk today about the 2026 MOAA Signature Group highlights of Eastern Europe river cruise. Before we get started, we are recording this webinar. So later this evening, you will receive an email which will have a link to this webinar. We actually have our own YouTube channel. And so if myself or more likely Jennifer says something of interest, something you may want to revisit or share with someone else that you may be going on this cruise with, just make a note at what time it is, the minutes after the hour. So let's say Jennifer, 35 minutes in, is talking about perhaps a specific port of call or something about one of the ships. Then instead of watching the entire webinar again, you can just fast forward to that point. I'm going to talk first. I'm going to talk about kind of what MOAA Vacation is. I think about we had 188 people, I think, registered for today's webinar. 100 plus of who've never been to one of our webinars before. So thank all of you who this is your first one. So I'm going to talk a little bit about MOAA Vacations for those people who may not be familiar with us, who haven't traveled with us in the past. Then I'm going to talk about what makes the MOAA Signature Groups unique. They are the most popular vacations that we offer every year. So I'm going to talk about them. I'm going to go through a couple of special pre-packages we put together over the last few weeks for those who want to extend the trip. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about how you would reserve your place on this cruise. I'm going to then turn it over to Jennifer. Jennifer is going to talk about Uniworld. Boutique River Cruises. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Uniworld, they are the most popular river cruise for MOAA members that we book. We book more Uniworld than any other river cruise line. And then we are going to go into a deep dive on this itinerary. Jennifer is really going to go through day by day, let us know what we're going to do that day. One of the things she'll mention that Uniworld includes is all the shore excursions. So we'll even talk a little bit about or touch on what those excursions are. In some ports of call, you have your choice. But without any further ado, oh, and then I'm sorry. And then when she's done with that, we're going to open it up for Q&A. As soon as I'm kind of done talking, doing my part of the presentation, I am going to jump on the Q&A and I will be answering questions or providing as much of an answer as I can during Jennifer's presentation. If you want to ask a question, if you go to the bottom of the screen, either take your mouse or your finger, if you're on an iPad or your phone, you'll see a little box that says Q&A. It's got like a little conversation thing with a question mark in it. Just type your questions in there. We're here to answer all of your questions. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing we always talk about is kind of what makes MOAA Vacations unique. And these are kind of the four kind of little bullets that we touch on. The first thing is we provide a concierge level of service. I could go into a 20-minute presentation, just everything that entails. But to summarize it, we kind of had this thing that we always share with people, and that's the fact that for MOAA members, we provide travel on a satisfaction guaranteed basis. We are the only agency in the United States that does this, and it means exactly what it sounds like. If you have an issue, a concern, or a problem before or during your trip, you reach out to us and we resolve that to your satisfaction. In most cases, you're going to talk directly with myself, and then I will go to Jennifer or one of the executives at the cruise line or the tour company, depending on who you're booked on, and we will get your problem resolved within 48 hours. If you've ever had a problem before, the kind of the industry average is 6 to 8 weeks. If you get to like the passenger relations or the passenger service department, that's ridiculous. It shouldn't take you 2 months to get an answer to a problem. On rare occasions, when I'm unavailable, for example, if I'm escorting a group, our Vice President, Mike Tyrell, will assist you and we'll get that issue or problem resolved as quickly as possible. And anything that you want that we cannot provide is what we consider an issue. It doesn't have to be like a problem, like, oh, who knows what that might be. It's difficult to think of what it might be, but whatever it is, One of the ones I often use as an example is for those cruise ships that have early and late dining. If somebody needs early dining for like a medical reason, or even if you just want early dining and it's filled, you would actually talk to me, and then I would reach out to that cruise line and do everything in my power to get that early dining cleared for you. We do have the guaranteed lowest prices. In fact, and a lot of times we have prices lower than you can get even going direct to the cruise line or the tour company. And then on top of that, we have a free amenity program. It varies by the vendor, but for our preferred vendors, which is going to be anyone you see promoted in a MOAA message, in the military officer magazine, or anything that we promote on our end, those are our preferred partners. We require them to offer MOAA members an amenity based upon their past and continued service. With Uniworld, that is an additional $100 discount on any Uniworld trip. Now, it's already factored into the price for this signature group, but if you were to say, go to the Uniworld website or see something and say, I want to do Douro River, or I want to do, the Rhine, or whatever it is, whatever departure you select, in addition to MOAA's guaranteed lowest price, you will always save at least an additional $100 per person. And then what a lot of people are here today is to talk about group opportunities. And when we talk about groups, we have a lot of groups. I mean, hundreds of groups that we have set up for MOAA members. But the signature groups are what we're going to talk about today. So this next slide kind of goes through the things that makes the signature groups unique. And the way I often describe these is these are kind of like groups on steroids. So you get all of the benefits that you would get from a normal group that we would set up, the two biggest of which would be a savings, because when we set up groups, we always have like an additional discount, and then the camaraderie of traveling with your fellow MOAA members. So these are on top of those kind of standard things. The first is they're hosted by MOAA leadership and staff. They are there to ensure that you have the best possible vacation possible. In addition, it's a really unique opportunity if you go on one of these signature groups to talk to MOAA leadership and hear what your association is doing up on the hill, to share your ideas and just kind of get that one-on-one communication, be it at a cocktail party, dinner with them. They are there with you for the entirety of the cruise and are there to kind of interact with you and listen to your ideas and share their comments. Jennifer's going to talk more about this, the all exclusivity of a Uniworld trip. We do have exclusive events on board. We'll have our own welcome reception, our own farewell reception, and we always like to throw in a couple of extras there. And I'm going to do these bullets in reverse order. They are a rare opportunity. This year we did 3 signature groups. We did a tour of Australia and New Zealand. In August, we have a yacht cruise. Well, I'm going to get that. That's on the next slide. Anyway, the rare opportunity. We only did 3 this year. We're only doing 2 next year. So if you want to go on a signature group, and once again, the most popular trips we offer the entire year. If you think about it, when we're looking at this Eastern Europe, we are holding the entire ship. It's already over half sold. In fact, I think we have 32 staterooms left on the ship. And not to kind of do that urgency kind of thing, but we did have 188 people registered for this webinar. So if you want to go, reach out to us, because this is the only ship that we have. There's only 32 staterooms remaining available. So reach out to us as early as possible to make sure you can save your spot. But if you've ever been to a MOAA event, or even if you haven't, it's basically everyone you meet on the ship, be it at dinner, on an excursion, at a cocktail party, whatever part of it is, they are all friends you've just never met before. And I think the 2 things that we talk about when we talk about these signature groups that make them so special is, first off, you basically are friends with everyone on board. You have the shared background, just the camaraderie that you have, where you don't even have to ask. Everyone you see, is a fellow MOAA member. And the other thing that was pointed out to me from a member a couple of years ago is the courtesy and respect that everyone has for their fellow members. If you're like me and you've traveled a lot, we've all been on vacations where there's that person or persons who are just irritating. They're not considerate of their fellow travelers or anything like that. You absolutely have none of that on these signature groups. Everyone is so willing to help in any way they can for everyone else who's on board. And then one thing we always want to mention is friends and families are invited. So if we want this to be the best vacation. So if you will have more fun on this vacation, if your kids go or your grandkids go or your neighbors or friends or whatever it is, absolutely invite them. I don't think we've ever done a signature group without several people bringing along friends and family members. So everyone on board will either be a MOAA member or a guest of a MOAA member. Okay, real quick, I was just going to show you the signature groups that we have. Obviously, I was going to say this a second ago, we have Greek Isles in August. That's on a yacht. And then we have, this is a Uniworld cruise, Burgundy and Provence in September. And then next year, I mentioned we only have two of them. The first of which we're going to talk about in detail today is this highlights of Eastern Europe. And then in October, we have another yacht cruise. To give you an idea on the yacht, it only has 92 staterooms. So they are truly, if you've ever been on those ships that have thousands of staterooms, it is a completely different experience. So those are kind of, so for next year, you have two chances if you want to go on a signature group. And please, at some point, you should go on. As I said, I can't say it often enough. I'm going to repeat myself again. They're the most popular things we do. Okay, so once you decide to go, this is a screenshot for the signature groups. We always design a website for them. So everything that Jennifer's going to talk about today is available on the website. I don't know if you can see, it's kind of small. There is a tab for pricing and accommodations. It's going to show you a screenshot and a description of all the suites and cabin categories available. There is a deck plan of the ship that shows all of the available cabins. In fact, we actually mark out the ones that are already sold. So if you were to go to this website as soon as this webinar is over and you've looked at the map, you will see the 38 cabins, something like that, that are sold and the 32 that are remaining. So you can actually, when you reach out to us to book, you can tell us which stateroom you'd like. You do see kind of in that upper left-hand corner, there's a book now. We do ask people to go online and fill out a book now form. This creates a order because the emails will be time-stamped with the date and time that that request came in. Once again, we have 100, how many ever people are live right now. And then, of course, as soon as this is over, we're going to send it to everyone who registered. So 188 people will be looking at this. So since we're actually allowing people to pick staterooms, we do that in the order they come in. So you fill out a book now form, somebody will reach out to you, help you select a cabin. So the sooner you decide, as soon as you decide, you should complete one of those book now forms to get yourself in kind of the queue. And then the last two things I was going to mention, these are relatively new. So we did send this information out just this morning to the people that are already booked, but we have two options for pre-packages. The first is through Uniworld. It's a 2-night Budapest pre-package, includes like a half-day city tour. But basically it's coming in a couple of days early, kind of get over your jet lag. You have a day on your own, as I mentioned, a half-day tour. This includes transfers from the airport to the hotel and from the hotel to the ship. That's one option. The other is we put this through Insight. For those who didn't know, there's a company that owns a lot of brands called The Travel Corporation. So they actually own both Uniworld and Insight. So they're sister companies. So they work together all the time, completely seamless. But we'd heard from a number of people that already booked that they wanted a little bit more. It's a 9-day cruise. You add 5 nights, it makes it 2 weeks. A nice kind of round number to go. But two of the really big destinations that are not included on the cruise that are in Eastern Europe would be Prague and Vienna. Once again, I mentioned all of this is on the website. If you go to the website, there is a tab for the pre-packages, and sort of like Jennifer's going to do today, it goes through day by day what you have on the agenda for that day. This is a tour, So you will have sightseeing every single day. You can kind of see the itinerary and see where you're going to go. Once again, this is going to transfers are going to pick you up at the airport, take you to the initial hotel, and then at the conclusion of the tour, they actually you get up the morning of the 12th in Vienna, and you are actually taken from your hotel in Vienna to Budapest to board the ship, and they take you directly to the ship. So great options. We have found with most signature groups, MOAA members want to do more. It is a huge expense and inconvenience to fly from the United States to Europe. A lot of people will do extensions. Some are going to cities that they were stationed in. They have friends and family there, or places they want to go on their own, which is great. But for those folks that kind of want to kind of continue that group experience, we put these two together. So there you go. That's kind of real quick what I wanted to talk about. As a reminder, if you have any questions, just drop them in the Q&A. And I will be answering them during Jennifer's presentation. We will revisit them all during the Q&A. So, for example, if somebody asks a question about single pricing, yes, we do have single rates on this departure or whatever it is. I will answer them during the presentation, and then when we get to the done at the Q&A, we'll revisit all of those so everybody can hear the answers to your questions. So, Jennifer, please take it away. Tell us about Uniworld.
Awesome. Thank you so much, John. I'm so excited to be here with everybody who's on the webinar. Thank you for taking the time today. And for those of you that are taking the time to watch it, we really appreciate it. We're so excited to welcome you all on board for this Highlights of Eastern Europe itinerary. And today, since there's so many new folks joining us for the first time, I'm going to start with a little brand overview, giving you an introduction to river cruising and our little family over here at Uniworld and what you can expect with your experience with us. And then, as John mentioned, I will jump into the nitty-gritty fun details of your itinerary that we've got planned for you guys for next July. We will be doing a day by day, so you'll get to hear about all of your excursions and the places we'll be visiting. But without further ado, let's chat a little bit about Uniworld. So I'm very lucky to work for such an amazing river cruise company. We really are the leaders in luxury river cruising. I know that word sometimes gets tossed around in the travel industry these days. So I've included this slide. When you think of Uniworld, I want you to think of premier luxury. We really are the top of the food chain there. I kind of like to describe it. If you've ever flown first class, going back to economy sometimes isn't as comfy. So we are like the first class version of river cruising. Of course, that first bullet point there, our passionate service, is one of my favorite pillars of what makes a Uniworld cruise so special. But we'll dive into a little bit of those details after I give you a brand introduction video here so you can kind of get a visual as to what we're about, and then we'll jump into what's included with your cruise. Awesome. So if you guys can all imagine, some of those laughs and moments that our video is showing while you're cruising with us, the benefit of going with a group is everywhere you look around, you all are going to be with your MOAA members. So I just always imagine that when I'm with you guys, and just how more intimate and much you have just a special connection with everybody on board. So I'm so excited for this group opportunity. Of course, our Uniworld staff, we are committed to giving you the best experience on board. Like John mentioned, we want this to be the best vacation of your life so far. Of course, many more to come, but no detail or request is too small or too large for us. We want to make sure that your comfort is taken care of while you're cruising with us. That's everything from our housekeeping staff, who I call them like our little mice on board. They kind of are in and out when you're least expecting it, tidying up, making everything feel comfortable for you. So when you're coming in to get ready on your excursions, your room is nice and neat. You're not feeling flustered as you're headed out. You're excited. They'll even remind you in the hall and say, "Oh, Mrs. Hunter, do you have your Vox box, your headset? I charged it for you last night." Things like that are some of the personal touches that I love about our staff members. Of course, when you're headed into the dining room too, we've got locally sourced food, and our staff is there to take extra care of you as well. We take pride in the freshest ingredients, locally sourced whenever possible. And you can imagine when you're dining with Uniworld, every evening is a fine dining experience. We have a course menu available for you all with not only local delicacies from the regions that you'll be sailing in, but also fan favorites, and also a little section on eating well. So no matter what your preferences are, we certainly can accommodate dietary restrictions, no problem. No matter what time of day, our staff is always there to help make sure that you are never going hungry, enjoying all of the food, and getting some local flavors when possible. All of your premium wine and spirits are included with us throughout the duration of your trip as well. So, of course, your meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and any time of day that you want a latte, a mimosa, an espresso martini, you don't have to worry about having a bill at the end of your journey with us. This is just a little sampling of some of the premium spirits that we have offered on board. Of course, we always have wine from the local regions. If we're visiting wineries, we're sure to have some bottles on board for you to enjoy post winery visit as well. It's just such a great opportunity to enjoy your vacation, and not worry about that extra glass of wine that you'd like during the day. I also like to mention that we have non-alcoholic beer, wine, and spirits available for guests as well. So if you want to partake in the cocktail of the evening, and alcohol is not a part of your lifestyle, no worries. We've got you covered. And they're very delicious. So even for those that haven't tried non-alcoholic spirits or wine, definitely take advantage and try it. It's a great opportunity. Of course, tours are some of the things that our guests look forward to the most while they're sailing with us. Uniworld does such a great job at getting you all off the beaten path into some of these unique destinations, exposing you to the culture in a very much VIP sort of attitude. So when you're visiting points of interest with Uniworld, you can see in this image, this is a real photo of us visiting the art museum in Vienna. We do an early entrance where our guests are the only ones in the museum. We break up into small groups like this one here. And of course, you have your headset so you can, wander and look at the beautiful art pieces on your own without missing a beat from your tour guide. But these small, intimate groups, shutting down these places when we can just for Uniworld guests, and really treating everybody like a VIP, getting you into some of the exhibits that might be closed to the public. That's what Uniworld is all about. So I can't wait to share with you some of those examples we'll be doing on the highlights of Eastern Europe in a couple of minutes. But I can't continue forward without talking about our ships, because these are going to be your floating boutique hotels while you all are sailing with us. And Uniworld is known for having award-winning ships. I like to describe it to my clients. It's like your floating boutique hotel We want our ships to resemble the destinations that you're sailing through. So you will feel like you're in Europe when you're on board with us rather than just a hotel next door. But we have the finest amenities, plush beds, fine fabrics from the regions. A lot of times we have original artwork in our ships, which is very fun as well. And then, of course, here are some of our guests that traditionally sail with us. We like to have a lot of fun on board with Uniworld. You can see some folks doing yoga on the rooftop deck. We do have a wellness instructor on board the whole duration of your trip. So you can participate in yoga, some of our active excursions. We throw parties. You could see folks in 70s gear. We do silent disco sometimes. So just a great experience on board while we are taking you to some of these incredible places throughout Europe. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into our itinerary that we're featuring today, our highlights of Eastern Europe. The ship that you all will be sailing on, as John mentioned, we do have this full ship reserved for your group. So every cabin will be filled with MOAA members or friends and family of the like. We are so excited to welcome you on board the SS Beatrice. That's our super ship. She's very beautiful, only less than 150 guests on board, and we have almost 60 staff members taking care of you all. But as you can see, she's a beautiful ship. And at the end of our day by day, I will be taking the time to walk you through all of the amenities on board, the different types of staterooms and what their room arrangements look like. And then I even have a short video at the end that will show you of the ship so that you can get an idea of your floating hotel for the week. So on this itinerary, as John mentioned, it is 9 nights, 10 days total. You can add those 2 options of a pre-package if you would like. With your travel advisor, it's a great opportunity to extend your trip if you want to be in Europe longer than the 10-day river cruise with us. This is a unique itinerary because it's 7 nights of cruising, and then 2 of our nights are actually at the end of your trip in Bucharest in a centrally located hotel. So as we're doing the day by day, I'll explain to you how that goes, but I love it because you get to spend an overnight in town in addition to on board with us. Of course, all of your meals, we've got a ton of excursions for you to choose from. And I can't wait to jump into it for you guys. So here's a little overview. I'm a map girl, so you can kind of get an idea. This map's a little bit small, but starting at the top there in Budapest is where your journey with us will start on day 1, and that will be July 10th. So for folks who are either spending time in Europe or arriving over in Budapest, day 1 will be July 10th with us. That will be embarkation day in Budapest. And then we're going to travel through 5 countries on the Danube. This is such a unique itinerary because of the different cultures you're going to get to experience. And I love it. It's for people with an exploratory attitude, people that love history or photography. There are some great opportunities to get outdoors in nature on this itinerary too, which I love. I'm a Colorado girl, so let's hop right into it. As John mentioned, Uniworld does offer a pre-cruise extension in Budapest. You can book this with him and his team to make a seamless itinerary for you all. But it does include the 2 nights in Budapest. I love this just to get into town. You don't have to worry about any flight hiccups or anything. You get to get over your jet lag, and there is so much to see in Budapest. I just think the more time you have there, the better. Because when you start with us, you're starting on day 1, embarkation day. And I like to describe this as kind of hotel check-in day. So as you can imagine, we're gathering all of our MOAA members to bring on board this day. And you meet our lovely hotel staff. John will be there. He has a desk set up right in the front that he will be greeting everybody on board. And you'll check into your room, we'll gather your passport information, and if your room's not available, they're typically available in the afternoon around 3 p.m. But if they're not available, we'll hold your bags for you so you can feel free to go out and explore a little bit on your own or take advantage of the amenities on board if you need a snack or if lunch is being served during the time you arrive. you're welcome to take advantage. But we are checking in on day one, and this is the day that you'll meet your shipboard staff. We'll do a little introduction to the team that will be taking care of you guys throughout your journey and hear how Uniworld works. One of the most unique things about us is that we handle your shore excursions on board. So as you're seeing things today, take a mental note on some of your favorites, but we'll explain to you on how you can pick your excursions on board and get you where you want to go during your journey. So without further ado, day two, we do overnight in Budapest so that we can explore the city with you guys on day two. If you haven't been there before, it's very unique. There's two different sides of the city, kind of two must-sees, and you can barely see in the distance in this image here. The Parliament building is, of course, a highlight, especially to see in the evening, which Uniworld does try to do a drive-by whenever the rivers allow us to at evening for you guys. But day two, you've got a couple of options with us as far as excursions go. For those that love history, we're going to jump into the history of communism in Budapest. I don't know if y'all knew, but a fascist regime was kind of in charge of the city 40 years following World War II. So we kind of jump into the history of the town starting there and take you to a little interactive museum where you can kind of learn the history of the two different, why this city has been divided into the Buda and the Pest side. We'll do a little drive past Hero Square today. That's definitely a point of interest while you're in town today as well. And then we'll take you up to Gellert Hill, which is a beautiful opportunity for a viewpoint over Budapest, where you can see Hungary's own Statue of Liberty while you're up there and take some great photos. But this is an awesome tour today, especially if you love history. Otherwise, we have another option for folks, and that's going to be our panoramic highlights tour with a synagogue visit. And this is a great city overview if you haven't been before. We're going by motor coach, so you get to see a little bit more of an overview of the city. I like to call it kind of the quick click and visit. We do have a commentary while we're driving around the city with a local tour guide. So they tell you about the history as well. And during this tour, you will stop in a Jewish quarter part of the city. This is awesome because there's a lot of little quaint coffee shops, unique food stands. The culture is really heavy here. You can kind of picture like some little hidden streets. And then you also visit a UNESCO World Heritage Site in Drosy Avenue. And this is just kind of the epicenter of this Jewish quarter with just all of their little shops, handmade, trinkets and souvenirs, and just a beautiful place to take some photos while you're exploring around. And then we end at a synagogue visit. This is the largest synagogue in Europe, the second largest in the world. So it is a great opportunity for those kind of wanting to see that architecture while you're in town. Moving onward to day three, we are taking you to Botnia and Vukovar. This is Croatia. If y'all didn't know, you can reach Croatia on a river cruise. So this is a unique opportunity to visit a country that has just had a remarkable recovery from a brutal civil war. You kind of learn about that history and can see it in the culture of the people here in Croatia. But just beautiful countrysides. We've got folk traditions that are very heavy in Croatia. And then, of course, delicious local food. So on day three, you have a couple of shore excursion options with us as well. I love today you get to have a locally hosted lunch either way that you go. So you kind of get to pick what else you would like to include with that, because we are going to get you a local taste today, no matter what, if you participate with us. But the first option, the Vocagel Museum. This is a very unique museum because it is integrated into the terrain of a mountainside. So the entire structure is designed to be pretty much mostly buried into the ground. So you can only see the frontal facade of the museum. It's got a green roof on top, and it really is highlighting some of the archaeological sites here at the museum. Very interesting place to visit, especially if you like archaeological facts of the places that you visit. So after you do a walking tour of the city, you'll do a hosted lunch and then you visit this museum. Option two today, you'll still get a panoramic tour of Osijek today. And this really is the heart of Croatian culture. So you will have this on both tours today. But it's such a picturesque city that you'll be visiting today. Like I mentioned, you'll see lots of different types of buildings and structures kind of through the history of Croatia, learn why different neighborhoods have been built this way. And then you'll head to Elt's Manor today after lunch for option two. And this is an 18th century palace. It now has a Vukovar City Museum in it. So learning a little bit more about the city itself and the history there. But it's such a great opportunity today to enjoy some local food and local hospitality while learning about the history in Croatia. Moving onward, we are going to spend day 4 entering Serbia today. So like I mentioned at the beginning, this is a very not quick pace itinerary, but you're visiting a lot of different countries. So Belgrade is the modern day capital of Serbia. So we're visiting Belgrade today. And it is one of Europe's oldest cities. So I think that's something that makes it so special. It is, I think it dates back 7,000 years or so. So very rich in history for the country. And of course, one of our excursions today, our Belgrade City Highlights, is going to teach you all about the history of this rich and complex city. The panoramic tour does show you different structures in the city as well. You'll have some Gothic architecture that you'll see. Communist era blocks will be pointed out as far as the history in the city, and then modern day skyscrapers. So you can imagine the variety in town here. And then we also, on our panoramic city tour, take a deep dive into a 19th century residence of one of the princesses in town. In one of the upscale districts. So that's a really unique opportunity to visit that. And then we also visit a fortress, which is the one pictured in this image here, the Kalmingdong Fortress. And this is seated above the river. So you can kind of see, you'll get very beautiful landscape imagery up here, great for photographs, and kind of learn about how, conquest has kind of played out in this area with this unique fortress here, but definitely a unique experience. And of course, you'll learn about some military heroes up here as well, seeing some monuments that honor poets through the history of this monument as well. And then once we're finished up here at the fortress, we do visit the Royal Palace compound today as well, which is amazing because you get to visit a lot of the grand rooms of the royal and white palaces, which is unique for people visiting this site. It is unique to Uniworld. And of course, you'll see the chapel and the gardens, probably enjoying a glass of Serbian wine with us. So a beautiful panoramic tour. On the other side, if you want a different choice of a shore excursion today, we've got our Let's Go Biking option. This is led by our wellness instructor, and this is one of my favorites. You guys are going to hear about all of my outdoorsy loves during this day by day, but this is a leisurely half-day bike ride tour. You ride towards an island, and hang with me for a second while I pronounce it for you, but it's Adrataskanli. And this is a unique island because it's located in the middle of the river, but it's full of picturesque bike paths. So you'll be riding around this little island, stopping at a beautiful park. There's beaches surrounding this island. So you'll circle the park and kind of get a taste for local life today. And it's a great opportunity if you want an active day out. And then we'll take a break with a refreshment before we head back to the ship today. All right, so after a day in scenic parks, we're heading out. Oh, I almost forgot to mention, I have to go back. Sorry. We have our nights out tonight on day 4. I love this because this is a private concert just for our guests overlooking the Danube. This is at Kalmandon Fortress tonight. So if y'all saw that during the day, we're having our private concert this evening there. It is one of the most culturally significant monuments in the country. And to be able to experience a private concert just with our group is a very special evening out. So that'll be great for our group. You can just imagine the golden hour and sunset while you're up there. Before we head into day 5. And this is a very unique day. I'm going to give you a little history of this area that we will be during day 5. But you get a chance today. We have a part of the day that's set aside for scenic cruising. And it's really a great opportunity today because we are sailing through the Iron Gates, which is a part of Europe. You can imagine canyons dividing. It's a natural border between Serbia and Romania. So we're sailing through this canyon. There's beautiful greenery, mountains. We pass this fortress here that's pictured on my slide here. But the Iron Gates is an 83-mile long stretch of scenic gorges that were cut through the mountains here on the Danube River. So a very scenic day, sailing section of the day. And we'll have commentary up on the top of the deck. So everyone, you can either listen in the lounge or come up on the deck. But we'll kind of be pointing out points of interest as we sail today. So that you don't miss anything as we're sailing along. And then we'll have our option for featured excursions today. But a beautiful time to sail. And then we've got 2 options today. We've got our archaeological park and Gold Block Castle option, or a Let's Go viewpoint hike today. So as you can see, multiple options for folks. The archaeological park and castle is an amazing day, great opportunity for photos. But our first stop on that tour, you do get to go to the castle. It is one of the most well-preserved medieval fortresses in Europe. So you'll have the opportunity to tour down if you're feeling like getting a few steps in. The tour guide will let you go up to some of those top pillars you can see in the image there. But a great option for guests that love castles. And then later that day, you visit one of the most significant archaeological sites from the Stone Age. That's going to be the archaeological park that afternoon. And if you prefer to get a little more active, we do have an opportunity to get outside today too on our viewpoint hike today. This is for nature lovers like me, but it is a part of the national park along the Danube. And I would say this scenic hike is about a half mile each way. So not super strenuous, but a great way to get outside and take in some nature of the areas. You can just kind of imagine the rolling green hills over the calm Danube waters. It's an easygoing hike, like I said, but we take you to the best vantage spot in the park at the viewpoint for some photos before heading back to the ship. On day 6, we're taking you to Bulgaria and Romania. So Vidin and Rus today. We've got a couple of options for shore excursions today. The one in the image on my PowerPoint here is our option to go visit these unique formations of red rocks. These formations are over 200 million years old. So what I love about this tour is you learn about many of the legends that have come from this area in the world, and particularly from these rock formations, really being a central part of some of the culture and myths in the area. So that's a really interesting opportunity. A little bit of nature for nature folks as well today. And then our second option is Dos Alamos Winery Estate. So for our wine folks, we haven't left you out. Of course, you're enjoying wine during your whole journey thus far, but for those that want a chance to visit a boutique winery estate, this is a wonderful opportunity for us to go have a private wine tasting experience. You learn about the family heritage of the property and the history there and what makes winemaking both challenging and rewarding in the area. So again, Dos Alamos Wine Estate, we will have some of their wine on board for those folks that choose Red Rock instead. You'll get to do some enjoy their wine during dinner as well. All right, as we head to Rus on day 7, this is Bulgaria's foremost port on the Danube. So it's sometimes called Little Vienna. It's a little 19th century city full of mansions and public buildings. So really a cute little town for us to visit today on day 7. We do have the captain's farewell dinner tonight on day 7. So we have a couple of excursions planned to get you back in time so that you can dress, rest, unwind, grab a cocktail before joining us for the captain's farewell reception tonight. But let's talk a little bit about your shore excursions for today. So you do have 2 options today. You kind of see the trend here. We've got a more traditional option and then a walking tour. What I would kind of say the differences between the 2 are today is that for your visit in Velkio, this is for those that want to get a little bit more of a history take on the town, and also have a chance to shop for some handcrafted local arts today. You'll learn a little bit about the town. You'll have time to walk through some of the shops that have local pottery or textiles. They're really known in the region. Before you head to a part of town called Arbanasi. And this is a unique side of the town because we have 6 amazing 17th century stone churches, and they're each decorated in different colors, very intricate facades, but just a great opportunity again for some photos and learning about this part of town. And just these beautiful churches made of stone. I can't believe they were so creative back in the day. In addition to that, you guys will have the chance to choose our Ruse walking tour. We visit a UNESCO World Heritage Site on option number 2, and that's going to be the Barsvero Monasteries on this day. So you'll get a chance to walk through the town. We do visit a little section of town that's a little bit more wooded. It's like almost like a nature preserve on the side of town. So if you're into birds or bird watching, for my nature folks, this would be my recommendation for you. See if you see any other wildlife. I'm not sure what's in the area there. But after you do the little walk on the side of town, we'll take you to the Rock Monastery. And this one has over 40 churches and monasteries, 40 churches and chapels in the area. And they were built inside caves along the river valley. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, so you kind of have an option to choose between those 2 options today. Like I said, option 1 for history folks, and for those that want to get a little walk in and get outside, I recommend option 2. All right, day 8, we are cruising along, and this is where we end our cruise section of the itinerary with you all in Georgiou. It's a unique name there, but day 8, we're disembarking in the morning and getting you loaded up on our motor coach. We make it really easy for folks to know when your bags need to get out. It's very seamless, and we take you on a beautiful drive through the countryside today down to Bucharest. And not only are you enjoying the drive down of getting to see some of these, other villages and ways of life outside of these 2 bigger cities, but you will have the commentary along the way, pointing out points of interest. And then we take you on a city tour once we arrive in Bucharest, making sure that you see all of the highlights in town today. Number one being the Pope's Palace here. It is one of I can't remember if it's the largest in Europe or the world. I should find that fact, but the largest office building. And to see it in a palace form, especially for the Pope, is just for the People's Palace is just an incredible opportunity. Visiting rooms that other guests don't have access to. And if you can just imagine, this palace is full of chandeliers and gold plating around windowsills and on our baseboards. The art, both on the walls and on the ceilings, are just impeccable. So a great opportunity to get a tour with a local today of the People's Palace. And then, of course, the overall city highlights for you. I love this because on day 9, y'all have a free day in Bucharest. So our city highlights tour is going to give you, a great overview of all of the must-sees in town. And then you'll have day 9 to explore a little bit more on your own. If you found something that looks exciting that you want to go spend some more time at or dive deeper into, of course, John and our hotel management team and concierge, we're all happy to give you some recommendations for this day as well. But what would a little vacation be without some time to do what you'd like in the city of Bucharest? If you remember at the beginning of the presentation, I mentioned we will be in a centrally located hotel overnight from day 8 to day 9, as well as 9 to 10. So you have 2 nights in that city center hotel. It's a great opportunity to get to know this city, on your own. I know some of our memories when we're kind of doing some self-discovery are some of the best, but you will be within walking distance of everything you need in town. And we'll end our cruise tour with you all on day 10 in Bucharest. This is a checkout day. It's so sad. So we will be saying farewell on day 10. And of course, whatever you plan with your advisor from here on out is with you guys. I know John and his team are really great at helping you guys get your customizations on the front end and the back end so travel goes smoothly. But just a great trip for everyone ending in day 10 in Bucharest. All right, without further ado, I wanted to give you all some details on the SS Beatrice. I know I mentioned it at the beginning, but I'm going to take some time here to dive into some of the logistics for you all so that you get a feel for your floating hotel. As you can see, the ship is just very lovely appointed. We do have a couple of dining opportunities for you all, but you enter in the Danube deck. That's where our concierge deck will be located for you all. And most of our French balcony staterooms, you can see those are nice and green there, with our premier staterooms being located up on the Rhine deck. That is going to be an upper deck before you get to the sun deck. And you can imagine on that upper deck, you do have a little bit of a better view out on the river. So you're going to find our deluxe French balconies and our suites for our folks there. And then all of our classic balconies are going to be down below. I like to call them, they're on swan level. So as you see the images, they've got little half windows there, but those are on the bottom deck. We do have a fitness center, spa, and guest laundry on the bottom deck as well. Self-service laundry is included for all guests. We even have detergent up front for you guys. And if you're staying in a suite with us, not only do you get our butler service, but you get your laundry included as well. So without further ado, our Royal Suite. This is our largest stateroom available for folks on board the SS Beatrice. You can see 390 square feet of spacious living area, those floor-to-ceiling windows. I love this Royal Suite because it even has a bathtub for folks wanting to enjoy and wind down in the evenings, and double vanities. I know that's important to the ladies and gentlemen sometimes. So we've got double vanities. You can just see the closet space in here. Of course, your butler will help unpack your clothes for you, iron your items, shine your shoes for you, get everything unpacked. But just a glorious stateroom. Of course, it has a stocked bar for you, all of your fine amenities in the bathrooms. And then with your butler service, I kind of like to describe them as your personal assistant. So their job is to take care of our suite members. So any personal requests that you might have, they are there for you to take advantage of and are included for our guests staying in the Royal Suite, our Grand Suite, and our traditional suites. So moving one category downward, we've got a slightly smaller suite. The Grand Suite is still beautiful, a lovely sitting area, plenty of closet space, and still maintaining that double vanity and a bathtub. So this is a great option for folks that are okay with a little bit of a smaller square footage footprint, but still want to enjoy our lovely butler services and private seating area inside of your stateroom. Again, floor-to-ceiling windows in here as well. And I will take a moment to chat about our bathroom amenities for folks throughout the cruise line. We do have very luxuriously appointed bathrooms for you all. Of course, you're going to have some bathrobes and slippers available, heated floors for folks, and towel racks as well. Some of the softest towels I've ever felt, and of course our beds. That's the one souvenir guests always want to take home with them are our beds. They're so comfortable. So, all right, I'll show you the suite here. There are a couple on board the SS Beatrice for you all, 225 square feet. Just for those that want a little step up from the standard staterooms here, but we've got our Savoy beds, of course, floor-to-ceiling windows. Just a little bit more room there. I love the vanity here because I like to get ready outside of the bathroom. But a great opportunity for guests located on that upper Rhine deck. Here's an example of our deluxe French balcony rooms on board. So these will be up on that preferred Rhine deck as well. A little bit of a greater view out of your window, preferred location located on the ship. And these French balcony windows, they do open all the way, so you can imagine sipping a glass of wine and taking in the views as we're sailing down the Danube. You can't quite see it in this photo, but there are a couple of chairs and a little table there, so you can enjoy a beverage or possibly some room service. We do have 24-hour room service as well, but you've got your private bathroom, closet space for both folks or a single sharing this room. Just a nice, lovely floating hotel room for you all. And then I've condensed our French balcony and classic cabin options onto this last slide here. So if you can think, we've kind of been going down in cabin category with our classic cabin being our lowest cabin category. These are 150 square feet. Like I mentioned, you're at swan level, so there is that little half window included in your classic stateroom to get some natural light in. But still have the Savoy beds and all of our accommodations within your bathrooms as well. And then our French balcony rooms, very similar to our deluxe French I showed you on the last slide, but these are going to be on the lower deck, the Danube deck. So the same floor that you predominantly enter the ship on is where our French balcony staterooms will be. But of course, all of our bathrooms still have that nice, beautiful marble look with all of your fine amenities as well. So with that, I want to thank you all for taking the time. I do have a quick video that I can show you about the SS Beatrice, and then we'll jump into our FAQs for you guys.
all right, this
Right.
feels almost illegal to know, but our windows were so old and just desperately needed to be
Mhm.
replaced. So I called a few contractors, but they all quoted me a hefty $10,000 or more for new windows, and I almost lost.
All right, John, are you there to help me with some FAQs? Wow.
I I thought you were gonna say that. I thought it was like, oh, the windows were dirty when they shot that video.
No,
Okay,
I thought someone was speaking in the webinar, so I haven't had that happen before. Sorry about that.
there you go. Do you mind if you pull up the last slide that has our
Yes.
contact information? So if you have any questions, drop us an email or give us a call. We have people available right now that can answer your questions. I did want to kind of go back to the point about the booking procedure. Um, and when you fill out that booking form and we receive it, we hold that stateroom for you for 48 hours. So if you look at the website right now, I know the last room category we talked about were those classic rooms, which are the most economical. Currently, the website shows those are all sold. My understanding would be is somebody is holding one of those and that will expire today. So they well could put a deposit on it. We have one available, but just so you know, when you fill out a booking form, you come in, we pick out your stateroom. You can either deposit immediately, or if you want to think about it for a day or two, you can. Obviously, we don't want to pull rooms out of inventory because other people may want to purchase that room. So we do, and you'll see that if you go to the website and the book now form, I'm not saying anything that isn't already on there. Okay, we had a number of questions, which is awesome. Going to try going through these quickly. There was somebody who asked, and this is actually somebody who submitted a book now form, but asked it on the book now form. But there was a question about trip insurance and airfare. So um, trip insurance and airfare is not included. And then there are some things on board as well. There was a question about this that are not included. And it's kind of easier to kind of go through those things that are not included. And I know Jennifer touched on a couple of these, but I'll go through them really quickly. So you have the complimentary shore excursions every day. There are the Masterpiece optional excursion, the Masterpiece Collection optional excursions, which have a price to them. They serve wine throughout the day at the bar and at dinner, but if you want like a bottle of nice wine, there's a fee for that. Laundry service, Jennifer mentioned that they do have laundry service available. And talking about the laundry service, where you put it in a bag and send it off and they bring it back, not the self-service laundry where they have the complimentary laundry soap at the front desk. The example I always use, your alcoholic beverages are included. They do have some what they call ultra premium spirits, which are not included. I always use the example like if you drink scotch, you can get Johnny Walker Black or Johnny Walker Red. If you want Johnny Walker Blue, there is a fee for it, but it is a discounted fee. I can't remember the exact price, but it would be something like in this range, like it's $80 for a Johnny Walker Blue or $70 for Johnny Walker Blue. I can't remember exactly where that same liqueur is twice that price, $150, $200 at your local pub or bar. So even when they have those ultra premiums, it is at a reduced rate. Did I miss anything there, Jennifer, that's not included?
Yeah. Yeah, and I just want to clarify all of the excursions that I spoke about today are
Are
included.
included. Yeah. So
Yep.
all of those are included. Now,
Yes.
understanding that, to kind of make, there are things you may want to do. For example, it may be a celebration and one night you want a really nice bottle of champagne or something
Mhm.
like that. And you'll see
Yeah,
this if
so
you go
we
to the
do.
pricing page. We give every single
Yeah.
person who goes as part of this MOA group a 100 euro onboard credit. And the reason we give it in euros, we used to give it in dollars, is the ship is in euros. So when you get on board, if you look at the price of an excursion and it says 45, that's 45 euros. If you go to look at the wine list and it says it's 100, you know, for a bottle of Dom Perignon, that's 100 euros. So not only is most everything included, but you have this $100. And the one I didn't mention, I always bring up last, is a gift shop. And I will be escorting this group. So I'll be on board and you'll hear me talking about this. is they have a gift shop and use the money that you have. So if you're in a
Yeah.
stateroom and it's you and your traveling companion, you have $200, and let's say you can literally do the entirety of this cruise and not spend anything. You have all your drinks included, all of your, excursions are included if you do the complimentary ones, all of that. So you can literally get to the end of the cruise and you spent nothing. Well, just don't go home, because if you don't spend it, you lose it. So go to the gift shop. They have a lot of stuff. It's very reasonably priced, and get yourself a souvenir there.
And I'll
Uh,
also do a plug-in for our spa services
oh,
because that
spa
is
service.
something not included in your rate, but we do have a spa on board, and that is something you can use your onboard credit for. So if you'd like
Thank
to
you.
take advantage of those services, it's a great opportunity, and I do recommend booking that, sooner in your journey than later, so you can get your preferred time. But that's a great opportunity to use that onboard credit as well.
It surprisingly fills up pretty quickly. The
Yeah.
last Uniworld cruise I went on, I got a massage. It was fantastic. But I think I was like day 2 or day 3, and I went to book it. The only availability was on day 7, which is the last day on the ship. But it is a great opportunity. We had people ask about single supplements. There are single supplements for the classic, the balcony, and the deluxe balcony rooms. Those single supplements are listed on that pricing and accommodations page. And then the last question we had, I see a bunch more came in, but the last question that came in during Jennifer's presentation, I wanted to talk about before I get to any of the other questions, is what occurs if there's low water. And I'm going to let Jennifer answer this, but if you read my answer in the Q&A, low water on a river is like weather on an ocean cruise. No one can control the weather. If you've been on ocean cruises, depending on how many you've been on, you've probably been on an ocean cruise where the itinerary changes because of weather, be it a tropical depression, a hurricane, high winds, whatever it may be. The same type of thing on the river. So if the rivers are low, it affects everyone.
Mhm.
Uniworld ships, from what I've heard Jennifer say before, have a lower draft. So there are occasions where Uniworld will be able to sail and other river cruises won't. But if the river's low, they all have contingency plans. It may be alternative transportation, itinerary change, ship swaps, something like that. But there is no set kind of policy, because, it may be
Yeah.
that the river is low and you can't get to one, like the last day of your trip, it may be low and you miss a couple of days. And that is all kind of decided, when you're on the ship and those things are being addressed. But as a
Mhm.
reminder, I will be on this ship with you. And so I am there to advocate for you and everyone in the group. So let's say for some reason that next year we're on this cruise and there is a problem with water levels, I will be there. I will talk to everybody in the group. I'll work with the people on board the ship. If we're not able, if needed, I will reach out to the executives in Uniworld's headquarters, and we will make the best of the situation. I can tell you, in a
Mhm.
situation like that, if there are issues and Uniworld is looking for solutions to that problem, you're going to be a lot better served to have me or someone from my staff on that ship with you than being on your own and everyone kind of on their own trying to, figure out what's going on. But Jennifer, did you want to say something about your
Yeah.
issue?
No, you did a great summary there. I like to always hone in on 2 points, and that we are at the mercy of Mother Nature. But like you mentioned, when you are sailing with Uniworld, we have a plan A, B, C, D, E. We have a backup for a backup of the backup, always trying to keep you as close to itinerary as possible. And like John mentioned, we truly pride ourselves in handling these situations. As some of the best in the industry. That comes from our pillars of service, and all of our connections. We are a part of the travel corporation, like John mentioned, so we know people in the area, and are always trying to get you guys to the things that you were looking forward to on your trip to the best of our ability. And that's all I can say is we handle those situations, like John said, case by case. Of course, try to avoid any hassles when we can, but you're still guaranteed to have some wonderful experiences. And as with anyone who travels, hiccups come up. So I always say, come with a good attitude and know that we're going to take the best care of you all with any
There
circumstance that comes our way.
you go. Uh, Okay, dress code. Okay, so Jennifer can talk about what the dress code is on Uniworld. You can go to their website and see it, but this is a MOAA Signature Group where we have the entire ship, so we pretty much can do whatever we want. It's one of the great things about having the entire ship is the ability to go to them and say what we've always done on Uniworld on these signature groups, and this matches with what Uniworld says is during the day you can basically wear whatever you'd like, shorts, t-shirts, polos, whatever it is. If you think about the day, you're going to get up, you're going to have breakfast, you're going to get off the ship, do an excursion, you get back, you're going to have lunch, you're going to get off and possibly do an afternoon excursion, you get back on. So during the day, pretty much whatever you'd like. We're not looking for Speedos or crop tops or whatever, but I think we've never had that issue with MOAs. In the dinner, if you go to your world sites, they do talk about kind of dressier, like on the captain's reception. You're on vacation. We don't really enforce that. At dinner, we typically, suggest slacks and like a polo or sundresses or slacks and a top for women. But if you're on vacation and if you show up in shorts and a t-shirt, I'm there. I'm going to tell you that you will be seated and have dinner, and you know what your fellow service people are like, so you might get a hard time from some of the people you're dining with, but you absolutely will not hear anything from myself or Uniworld. Somebody asked about travel arrangements. Are you on for travel agents for Europe? That's kind of a longer one, Larry. Larry asked about travel arrangements to and from Europe. We're at an interesting time with airlines, and I'm going to go through this relatively quickly, but we are absolutely here to help you with airfare. You can get your airfare through Uniworld. We can help you book it. You can get it through a third-party company. The Expedia, which is literally, a lot of people don't know, it bought everybody. Expedia now owns Cheap Tickets. They own, what's the other one? Orbitz or whatever. Those third-party companies. What we recommend is we can assist you selecting the best available flights, but you're better off booking direct with the airline. The reason being is should you have an issue with your flights, particularly if you're already over in Europe, and let's say you book with Expedia or you book with Uniworld and you contact them, they may not be open. And if you book, I'm just going to use American Airlines. You book American Airlines for Expedia. If you call American Airlines, they're going to tell you they can't help you. You have to go to Expedia. I have had this issue when I've sailed, even though I own a travel agency and I've called, it was American. I called American with a problem with the flight because of wind. They changed my disembarkation port, and American basically told me they couldn't assist me because I was in the middle of my trip. But what the person I was talking to didn't understand is travel agencies, third-party companies can't help you in the middle of your flight. Once you take off, and you're changing your ports. So instead of flying home from Exuma, I was trying to fly home from Freeport. I had to spend a half an hour on the phone to get to a supervisor who understood that they had to change it. And then they charged me a fee to take over the reservation. And it's a longer story than I meant to get into. We will book it for you if you'd like. Uniworld will book it for you if you'd like. You can book it through a third party. Our advice is to book it direct with the airline because the airlines don't want to work with people anymore. Okay, Paul asked, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that, Jennifer.
You forgot to mention travel insurance. Do they get that? How would you recommend
I
guests
thought I
get?
mentioned that the travel insurance and airfare wasn't included. We highly recommend travel insurance. Once you make your booking, if you'd like a quote on travel insurance, we're more than happy to provide it for you. I can tell you when we talk about our concierge level of service, I am licensed to sell insurance in all 50 states, so any insurance questions you have, come to me. If you have a claim, I will fill out the claim forms for you, send them to you. You may have a one-page attending physician statement that somebody at your doctor's office has to fill out. You can then send those forms back to me. I proof them before we submit them to the insurance company, and I can tell you we have like 99% of our claims are paid because it's essential that when you file the claim the first time, that claim form is filled out exactly correct. You have an hourly employee who has a quota that looks at those and is trying, they have to do 10 claims an hour or whatever. So you just want everything to be correct. In the last 10 years, we've only had 2 claims that were denied. And I could get into those details if you cared. But trip insurance is very important to protect your investment. Any questions on that you can do. Briefly lift the prices. Yeah, let's get I'll pull that up at the end. The website has all of that. So at the very least, you will get that when you get that. I need to
Do you want
pull
me
up
to
my
pull that up for
computer.
you, John? Do
Pardon me?
you want me to pull up the
Yeah, do you
website
know
now?
the URL?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Uh, when you book excursions, Deb, the excursions are booked when you get on board. There are no booking in advance. You get on the first day you're on board or the first evening you're on board, the tour director will kind of go through the excursions for the next day. So there's a lot going on that first day when you get on board. So that first night, they only do kind of the day two excursions. And then on day two, they will go through the excursions for the remainder of the cruise and they'll give you a sign up sheet and you sign up for what you want. They're complimentary. So if, let's say, I'm not going to remember the excursions because they're not in front of me, but let's say you sign up for like a tour of a winery and then you have dinner and you meet some other couples and you decide, oh, these couples are doing a walking tour and I'd rather do that. You just go to the front desk and you say you want to change your excursion. I should mention in the lobby, there are two desks in the lobby. The tour director is at one desk and right across from her, I will have a desk. I will be at that desk at breakfast, lunch, and at dinner. So before dinner every night. So I'm always in the lobby, same time the tour director is there. So if there's a line for the tour director, you can just come to me and say, John, we want to change our excursion tomorrow or a couple of days down the road and go on this excursion instead of that excursion, and they change it. So there's the way they handle them is so seamlessly effective. There's no reason to book them in advance. You will get whatever excursion you want that you want. So. Okay, when do you book excursions? Okay, which rooms have balconies that you can sit on, which have just open like window? All of the balconies on the ship are what are called French balconies. So they have the top half the window that comes down, which makes your entire stateroom the balcony. Ships can only be as wide as the locks that the ship goes through. So if you actually had a step out balcony, that would have to reduce the size of your stateroom. So none of them have walkout balconies, but keep in mind, it's one or two floors up. I guess if you're on the classic level, it's three floors up. There's an elevator. You can always go up to the top deck and sit up there if you want to sit outside, but none of these balconies have step out balconies.
Correct.
Guess I answered that one.
Can you see the website on your end now, John?
Yes, thank you. So there's the pricing there. You can see that depending on the stateroom category you have, we have a discount of between 400 and 1400. Obviously, the discount is lower or less kind of in the more popular cabin categories, and it lists that €100 credit. And then we have the question about the single supplements, which you can see listed there. Are gratuities expected in addition included, for instance, for the butler? No, all gratuities are included. That's an easy one.
Yeah.
What about gratuities? They're all included. Anything you want to say about gratuities?
No, we take care. We love our staff. They take such great care of you all. That's included in your rate. You don't have to worry about having a bill at the end of your trip with us. We are taking great care of them and appreciate you considering them. But no gratuities. They are included on board for
There you
all
go.
staff.
Okay. Somebody asked if they can call tomorrow for a reservation. Absolutely. It'll be included in the email you received tonight. The number is 1-800-211-5107. You want to talk to one of our river cruise experts, and anybody that you speak to can assist you. Mike Tyrell, our vice president, actually is managing this signature group. So he's the one, because we actually take over the whole ship. So he actually manages the inventory. So since we have multiple agents selling at the same time, normally an agent would call the cruise line, would call Uniworld and say, is stateroom 415 available? In this instance, the agent you speak to, or if you speak directly to Mike, Mike has the manifest. So Mike's the one that you will either talk to, or the person you speak to will talk to Mike, kind of that. Are there medical personnel on board? Okay. The difference between a river cruise and an ocean cruise, and I've had this happen twice on river cruises I've escorted, where once somebody had an allergic reaction, the other one somebody had an abdominal issue, and the ship just pulls over. We will have a car waiting for you when the ship pulls over. In the first one, they had an allergic reaction, took a cab to the airport and flew home. Decided not to continue. And the second one, I think it was late, but the bar was still open. So let's say 10 at night. We pulled over, let the person off. They went to a medical treatment center, and I was at my desk the next morning for breakfast, and they came back on the ship. So they just needed a treatment that they'd gotten on other bases as it was some kind of abdominal issue. So they got off. We had a car waiting for them, took them to the medical center. They had the treatment, and then they came back on board and boarded the next day. So unlike an ocean cruise where you could be way out at sea, it's I think in both of those instances, it was less than a half an hour by the time they came and said, I would like to get off the ship, that we pulled over and got them off the ship. Any thoughts of offering a post extension to Romania? Robert, I'd not have been suggested, but we can certainly look into that. The issue would be if it's anything custom, we're going to need at least 18, 20 people to go. Can you address the requirement for visas? Jennifer, there is no requirement for visas, correct? Or is there a requirement for a visa on this one?
Let me check. I have a list right here for you. As you all know, it's, something that constantly changes at this time. I don't believe so, but let me double check while you answer the next one.
Yeah, I think the ATIS, ETAIS or whatever is going to be in requirement next year. It keeps getting pushed back, but the assumption would be that that will probably be required by that time. If I remember correctly, it's like $15 for a 3-year visa. You can do it online. It takes 5 minutes. I think they recommend you do it at least 2 days prior to departure. If you go to the website, if you ask your agent, we're going to recommend you do it further than 2 days before you go on the trip. But that will most likely, I mean, they've delayed it almost 2 years already. But as I said, very simple, go online, like 15
Yeah,
to
and we
go in.
have
Pardon
on our website too, we have a know before you go section where you can insert in each of the countries you're traveling to, both where you have your passport from and where you will be traveling from. And it'll make it really easy, the entry requirements, if you need any visas or anything. And at this time, there is none on this itinerary.
Okay.
Just need to
Okay,
check.
so
You do
question
need a
about a
valid
mobile hot.
passport,
Pardon me?
and of course, folks need your valid passport with six
Yeah,
months past. So your passport has to be good through February of 2027.
go. Do we get a mobile hotspot that works off the ship? No, if you're asking what I think you're asking, there's free Wi-Fi on the ship. As far as a mobile hotspot, Wi-Fi should be on the buses when you're on the excursion. Once you're off that, I mean, if you're at a restaurant, they may or may not have it. Those types of things. I don't, depending on who your carrier is. I have international a plan with Verizon. If I use my phone outside of the United States, it's $20 per 24-hour period. So if I log on at noon, I have it to noon the next day. So it's not, I don't want to say $20 a day because it theoretically could be, 3 p.m. from one day to 3 p.m. the next.
Mhm.
Unlimited texting, and I think it's a half gig or a gig of data. Never kind of gone over that. So, but if you're asking, if the question is, does Uniworld give you a mobile hotspot that you can use when you're off the ship wandering around whatever city you're in? That's a no. Jennifer, I don't know if there's anything that you want to
Yeah,
say to
yeah,
address
you
that.
covered that well, but we do have Wi-Fi on board. You can keep in touch with loved ones, answer emails and such if you need to. But yeah, we do not provide those services at this time. It would be to each individual through your mobile cell phone carrier to arrange an international plan.
There you go. I will say one thing about the Wi-Fi on the ship, and this is going to be for all of them. The ships dock right in city centers. If you've never been on a river cruise experience before, think of it as a floating hotel. It is not an ocean cruise ship. And so I'll just give you an example. When you show up for an ocean cruise, you're transferred to the pier or the port rather, and you may not board for hours and you just sit there in the at the port. Um, at a hotel, you get to your hotel, you walk into the hotel lobby, and you could check in, and your room may not be available, but they still allow you into the hotel. Uniworld's the same way. So your flight lands, you get transferred from the airport to the ship. You walk right on the ship. They take your bags and they check you in. And if your room's not ready, once you checked in, you're checked in. So if you're there early enough, you can go have lunch, and lunch is complimentary. You can go to the lounge and you have unlimited cocktails. You can go up there and have a cocktail, or they can watch your bags and you can get off the ship, walk around the city, and get back on the ship. So there really is no this, kind of waiting around at the port kind of thing to board. The same kind of thing when you get off the ship. When the ship docks in the morning, they're going to need everybody out of their staterooms after breakfast because they have to clean and sanitize the rooms before the next group, I guess, boards the ship. But you can stay on the ship. They'll have your bags. You can walk around the city. If you're there through lunch, you have lunch. You're still on board. So your drinks are free, still free. Your lunch is still free. And then when you need to leave for the airport, you leave for the airport. So as I said, it's like a hotel. It's not this, because disembarking ships is just one of the most lowly rated things about cruises. You do not have that on this. Anything you want to, oh, Jennifer muted. Anyway, it's just one of the things we talk about a lot. It is a completely different experience. The people who go on river cruises just love them. The deposit is 20% of the cruise cost. Somebody asked what the deposit was. What is the difference between a deluxe French balcony and a French balcony? Well, I'll let you answer, Jennifer. I think I know the answer, but I don't want to be wrong.
Yeah, sure. The difference between a deluxe and a regular French balcony is your location on the
Yep.
ship. So our deluxe French balcony are going to be up on that higher deck. So the views, it's like when you're booking a ocean resort, are you going to have like an ocean view or an ocean front? That's kind of, how you can consider the differences between the French and the deluxe French. As you can see, they're popular. I think John shows maybe 5 left on his map here. But yeah, they are the same layout with those full floor to ceiling windows for folks in either option.
And to a certain extent, you almost have a private bar because you look at the back of the ship there on the Rhine deck. That is Max's
Yeah.
bar. It is a small, quaint little place that, a lot of people aren't going to go all the way to the front of the ship and then all the way back down the hallway. I guess there's the stairs at the back as well. So I probably shouldn't say that. And so then the difference between the deluxe French and the suites, the grand suites and the, what is it? The royal suite is just the butler service, and then obviously considerably larger. Is it customary to tip the excursion guides? No. Some people do. I don't know if you want to address that, Jennifer, but the gratuities are
Yeah.
included. I do know on board they are, if I'm correct, forbidden from taking tips, right?
I believe so. They are included and they are well taken care of on board. So definitely do not feel obligated. On board, we want you to enjoy your vacation and not have that feeling while you're trying to enjoy your time with us. As far as off of the ship goes, gratuities are not included for your bus drivers or your local tour guides. And like you said, John, I would say it's a hand toss. I would usually recommend guests to bring, a few euros here or there if you had an exceptional tour guide. Of course, if everybody gave $1, that makes someone's day.
Yeah.
But of course, exceptional service. I'm a tipper, so I would give a few euros. But definitely don't feel obligated. We hire the best of the best to treat you with the best, and definitely do not assume that guests will have that pressure at all. But
Yeah.
if you do feel like someone did a great job, bring a couple small bills to show your gratitude.
You can also get euros at the front desk.
Yes, on board.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
you can
then
exchange local currency.
what we find is the best conversion rate normally is just using an ATM, but that's for another day. So anyway, I think that's it for questions. What a great amount of questions. I love it. Okay. So for those who are still here, I know a number of people have got the information they needed. We need to download this video. We then need to upload it to YouTube. But sometime this evening, you will get a link to the YouTube recording of this video so you can watch it again. As a reminder, you can bring friends and family along. If you have somebody who would increase your enjoyment that you'd like to bring along, what is the age requirement for Uniworld?
Ages 4 and up.
Ages 4 and up. So we have had people bring their grandkids as well on some of these. So anybody you want to bring, you can obviously bring. It's MOAA members and any guests that like to bring. And it will have a link to this website that Jennifer pulled up. You can see the tabs, so you can see all the accommodations, the day-to-day itinerary, the pre's and posts, the listed inclusions, terms and conditions, and the book now form. I want to thank everybody for being with us. Jennifer, thank you for taking time out of your schedule. I think this is the longest webinar I've ever done, a full hour and a half, 90 minutes. So there you go. Anyway, I look forward to seeing everybody on board. As I said, I will be on this cruise. I'm there for one reason and one reason only. You'll hear me say it practically every day on the cruise. I'm there for one reason, and that's to make sure you have the most fun possible. You will absolutely love it. Jennifer, I'm going to turn it over to you for the last word.
Awesome. Thank you, John, for hosting us today. From all of us at Uniworld, we're so excited to welcome your MOAA member group on board, all their friends and family. We can't wait to share this extraordinary itinerary of the highlights of Eastern Europe with you guys next July. So thanks again for taking your time out of your busy day today and considering this as a vacation for you and your friends and family. We thank you so much.
Happy 4th of July, everyone.
Yes, happy 4th.